Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Adam Lodzinski. Welcome to my very first video on my YouTube channel. I'm a professor of psychology at the Adler Graduate Professional School in Toronto, and I'm also a conflict resolution specialist. Over the last 15 years in my private practice, I've helped hundreds of people resolve their conflicts, whether it's romantic, whether it's family, friends, best friends, or workplace. My mission is to share with you insights, practical tips, and strategies for how to resolve conflicts with those people in your life who mean the most to you. If there's one thing that can ruin just about any relationship, it's too many conflicts. And if there's one thing that can help just about any relationship, it's learning how to resolve them. So another goal of mine in this channel is not just to help you get back to square one in a relationship with someone, but for you to actually get closer for your relationship following the resolution of your conflict to be stronger and closer than ever before. Now, the first topic of this series in this channel is on the 4 essentials of conflict resolution, the title of my book. So what are these 4 essentials? Loss, intent, violation, and responsibility. For there to be a conflict, you've got to have all 4 of these present. Okay, so let's start with loss. For there to be a conflict, you have to have lost something as a result of what the other person said or did. That loss could be psychological, could be tangible, could be both. Second, whatever the other person said or did had to be intentional. They had to mean it. They had to consciously decide to do this, or whatever it was they said or did. Third, it also had to violate a rule that you have. Now, all relationships have rules. We've got boundaries. We've got codes of conduct. We've got etiquette. And the third element, then, is that whatever the person did, it broke a rule around how you're supposed to treat one another. Last but not least is responsibility. And in responsibility, whatever the person said or did, they had to do on their own accord. They had to be responsible solely for their actions. Okay, so these are the 4 elements: loss, intent, violation, or responsibility. What have these got to do with conflict resolution? Let's start about that. You can always go back and re-examine any conflict. Actually, you can do it on the fly and ask yourself, hang on, what is my loss here? Have I overestimated that loss? Do I see a loss somewhere where there is no loss? And I'll give you an example of that. Maybe this has happened to you. But when you really hope that someone's going to treat you a certain way, or they're going to say something that in a certain way, or you're really hoping they're going to feel the same way about you as you do about them, and they don't, it really can feel like a loss. Now, actually, it's not a loss if they didn't promise anything. And in effect, if they haven't treated you any differently, they're not taking anything away because they never gave you anything. At least they never gave you what you wanted. And so there's nothing there to take away. Feels like a loss, but it really isn't a loss. Intent. Sometimes it's a really good idea to stop and think, wait a minute, maybe what this person said or did came out wrong. Maybe they intended it to come out a certain way or to have a certain effect. but it didn't. It backfired without them realizing that it would. That's a way of looking at intent from a different point of view. Violation, that comes up often very early in relationships where neither of you know each other super well, and there's a bit of trial and error around that. People will say and do things that they soon learn they shouldn't, that you don't like that, or you don't like this, or vice versa. And last but not least is responsibility. Now, if it's possible to share the responsibility for what happened between you, that's remarkably helpful. If it's entirely the other person's fault, well, it's worth thinking about and wondering whether in fact it is, and whether or not you may have done something to contribute to that. If responsibility can be shared, what happens is that the conflict is much easier to resolve. So these are just 4 examples of ways of re-examining the 4 essentials to get at a solution to the conflict. Now, in the videos that follow, I'm going to go into much more detail about not only the 4 elements of conflict and its resolution, but also many other things around communication, sort of what to say, how to say, whatever you need to say in various situations, how to put your thoughts and feelings around what's going on into words, how to decide whether or not you really want to resolve a conflict. I'll also delve into some of the characteristics or the key characteristics of conflict-prone relationships. So these are just some of the things that we'll be exploring in this channel. And by the way, you can follow along with the book. And not only that, but you can also download from my website a set of worksheets, 8.5 by 11, that basically are in the book, but can be printed out separately on an easier to work on sheet of paper. And you can do this either on your own or with the other person, depending on how that might work for you both. That's it for now. That's it for this video. Again, I want to thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe and share. It would mean a lot to me. It would help out a lot. I'm going to be talking next about loss and how loss is and why loss is so central to conflict and conflict resolution. So stay tuned. I'll see you soon. Till then, take care and all the best. Bye for now.